Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today are the ladies from St. Luke's Community Clinic, right here in Front Royal. This here is Nancy Rose. She is the outreach specialist, and this right here is Kandice Strother. Did I say it right?
Yes.
How about that? We've been practicing all morning, and I say it wrong all the time. Candice.
Yes.
Okay, I'll get it right because my granddaughter is a Cadence, and that's what I'm going to call you the whole time. Kandice.
Yeah.
She is the mental health counselor, something kind of new. They've been doing what for the last year or so, right?
About a year.
So she's going to be evaluating me as we talk. So see how I'm doing. All right, tell us a little bit about. Let's start with you, Nancy. You kind of give us the overview of the clinic. Who's your customer? How you what? Because you're celebrating like your 25th anniversary, aren't you?
We are. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary a year ago. And what St. Luke does is provide medical care to the uninsured and underinsured in Warren County. Because there are people out there that didn't qualify for Obamacare, but their income's not enough to pay for health insurance.
Right. And you also have a little transition period there. I think you'd help my brother when he was transitioning from no insurance to Medicare, and Vicki just really went the extra mile and helped him out.
Yeah, St. Luke is really good about helping people that are just in the gap.
Right.
Because they've lost their job, they haven't found a new job yet. They've just come off their parents' insurance, but they don't have insurance. And then there's just people that just haven't had insurance.
Right.
For whatever reason.
Right. So some of the service, you've expanded your services quite a bit in the last year or two. Yeah. So what kind of things do you cover other than just basic, I got a cold,
We treat adults from 18 to 64 because at 65 you graduate to Medicare.
Right.
We have the women's, Every Woman's Life. It's a women's care clinic that we do once a month. We have dental services, extractions, cleanings, exams. We treat people with chronic illnesses, diabetes, COPD, high blood pressure. And we are partners with Valley Health to, when someone is beyond our scope of care, we then can refer them.
Okay.
So we do work with Valley Health. They're a big supporter of us.
Great. Well, let's talk about mental health, because that's really like the major problem I think we have, and it seems to be, it's our homeless problem, it's our violence problem, it's our domestic problem. It's like all built around, what goes on in our head. So you want to tell us a little bit about it? What kind of services you offer there, or what really is it all about?
Well, I'm a general counselor. I have a master's in social work, and basically any type of problems or issues that someone's having, they can come and talk to me. We deal with a lot of grief, anxiety, depression, PTSD, anything. And I think a lot of times people tend to put mental health on the back burner.
Sure. Like a stigma against it. Like, there's nothing wrong with me, or you're a shrink, and I can get through it. Right. Yeah.
So I'm there, to talk to. It's an unbiased opinion. I can do it in person, or we also offer services over the phone if the person can't get to the clinic.
Right. Sometimes you just need to vent.
Right, exactly.
I said, you're going to do all the talking. And I said, I forgot, you're a good listener. So
I'm the listener.
2 ears, 1 mouth, what they say. You should listen twice as much as you talk.
That's right.
I think that's why I only have one ear. Can't hear out of that ear.
Well, Kandice, you're also good at helping with people who have just issues as far as like they seem to keep dating the wrong person. They seem to keep choosing the wrong job. You're a good sounding board for them to be able to talk to.
Right. And when things get very overwhelming, sometimes you need someone to just talk to and sort those things out. And
you said an unbiased position. You have your friends, you have your spouse. Sometimes that can be judgmental. And sometimes you just need that. I'm not going to be judged, and it's safe. It's a safe space, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So go into some ideas about situations maybe that you come across that people can identify with, that like you mentioned, the depression, but people don't know what that is, or PT. I don't know what that is. We have a lot of things, we just don't know what we call them. So why don't you kind of give us some everyday things that people pretty much just call you up on the phone and say, Candice, help me.
Well, grief is a big one. People losing a close loved one, that needs someone to talk to. Depression, when you're feeling down, you just don't have the motivation to get up and do the things that you used to do.
Right.
Anxiety is a big one in this day and age. Who doesn't have anxiety?
And it's over a lot of things too. I mean,
Right, it can be
people are
over
anxious
work.
around people, get the work, can't come around. It's sometimes I've known some people that they say I'm really have anxiety, and yet you see them do certain things that they're very comfortable with. That I thought, well, how could you be how do you have this condition and having this anxiety when you really function well there? As soon as you move them over to a new situation, they it's
they
like
don't
they just
function.
completely shut
Right.
down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, we work in correlation with the nurse practitioner, who can, if it's decided medications is the right way to go.
Yeah.
So she and I work together a lot of times with certain patients that need that extra care.
Right. I noticed too that we're seeing now a lot of Vietnam era vets with this, I guess we call it PTSD, but they've gone through 40 years with no problem. Then all of a sudden it's kicked in, and if they get close to, as they get a little older, I know several that have just completely gone into a depression, and it's been triggered by sounds, noise, anxiety, what they hear on the news, and old memories come creeping back into our lives. Is that what is this PTSD? How does that's kind of a new word. We used to just call it something else.
Right. Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes, that's what it is.
A lot of times people who have childhood trauma suffer from it, which is complex PTSD.
But it can re-trigger just later in life.
Yes, definitely, especially the childhood trauma. Now, trauma can also mean acute trauma, which means, say you got into a car accident and you're very shaken up about it.
And every time you get in a car,
Right,
You're there again.
or you don't want to get in a car. Yeah,
right. That's
Yeah.
just an example.
sure.
But yeah, I work with some people who have that, and we work through it, and identifying triggers and things like that.
Yeah. Well, how do you really treat people with a mental? You can't get in their brain, and I mean, how does that work? I mean, other than medication, does it really help to talk?
I think so. A lot of people have said that since they started talking about it, that they feel a lot different.
Kind of like I've let it go.
Like a big weight's been lifted.
Yeah. That's true. It does happen. Sometimes, like you say, sometimes we do it if we don't have a mental illness, just venting and get it
Right.
off. It's what used to call get it off your chest,
Right, and I do see people who don't have a quote-unquote mental illness
Right.
that just want someone to talk to vent to. Like I said, when you're feeling overwhelmed, just someone to kind of sort those things out.
Yeah. Well, it's a great service because it's really needed, I think. And again, there's all different degrees of it.
Right.
So it's better to catch it early, and maybe it goes. It's manageable. I guess
Manageable,
that's
yes.
it. Things never always go away, but they do get manageable.
And we try to think out of the box too, by opening up the phone calls, and also, when it's nice outside, sometimes I suggest, hey, let's go for a walk around the block.
Yeah.
Just to kind of loosen up the tension and stigma, like you were talking about,
Sure.
of seeing a counselor.
I know. Well, that's what we
first
do
time.
here when they bring it in. I talk to you for a few minutes and just tell you, we're just going to have a conversation, and you're going to tell me what you know, which is more than I know. I know enough to be dangerous. So this are you the only counselor there?
Yes,
So
I am.
you are overwhelmed with anxiety from just so much.
Well, there's plenty of openings for people who want to come in and talk to me.
So how does it work? Do I just call on the phone?
Yeah.
Well, you can call the clinic. You need to be a patient of St. Luke.
Right, you got to kind of set up, make sure you qualify.
Yeah,
for
and to meet that criteria, you need to be a Warren County resident or Front Royal resident, a valid photo ID. Strangely, bring a piece of mail addressed to your physical home, not your
Right.
P.O. box. And then we go through the registration process. If you have Medicaid or any type of insurance, you need to go somewhere that accepts that, because we do not take Medicare, we do not take Medicaid,
Right.
because that's an insurance in itself. But we're really for the people that don't have it at all. And then once the day that you register, you're usually seen that day.
Okay.
And if not, your appointment's scheduled as soon as possible.
Okay. So then once you're a patient, or you're a member of your society,
Yes.
you can. It's just as easy as just make appointments like you do anywhere
Just
else.
like you would anywhere else. And it's a whole process, because we also have our medical provider check you out on the physical side, because maybe you've got some undiagnosed things that you don't know about.
Right.
Or you
That
need,
triggers things like that.
exactly, or you just need care that you haven't sought.
Right.
And they'll be able to assess that and get you on medications to take care of, or we'll refer you out to someone to do that. And then Kandice steps in, takes care of the mental health problem.
How often do people see you typically?
Typically, I have some patients who are once a week, and some who are just once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Or if they
Sometimes just once.
Sometimes just once.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
She's a miracle worker. That's what she-
I wouldn't say that, but however often that they feel that they want to
Okay.
talk to me.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about the phone or Zoom and all the other things. We can really cram a lot of stuff in our schedule.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When it comes back, we're overwhelmed. You
Yeah.
know, I've already got 100 emails before I got to work this morning. You know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we got
Oh, my.
email stress. You know, but you got to learn to let stuff go, and that's hard to do too.
Yeah.
And I guess you help people and you set up checklists and things that they can do to get their life back on track. I think
Yeah.
probably all of us could use a little mental health counseling. Don't you think?
It doesn't hurt to
Doesn't
go in
hurt.
and just talk to somebody and just kind of say, am I in the right space? Am I doing what I need to be doing?
Right.
Or maybe, or she'll be great at helping reframe a problem so that you can look at it a different way.
Yeah, and I like that out of the box.
Yeah.
You got to really go with the flow, because
Right.
there's no one way for any one thing. Even
No.
that's why they call it a practice and not.
Yeah, yeah. Very true.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of great things happening at St. Luke's. The community really does support the clinic, and our medical professionals in the area
Yeah.
do a lot of volunteer work, because you depend on that. And
We are fully community funded.
Right.
And we have been for over 26 years. I'm very
Yeah.
proud of the fact
Yeah.
that we've been able to do that, but we rely on the donations from the community. We do have our annual fundraiser.
Right.
Our gala will be September 30th at Shenandoah Valley Golf Course, and there'll be a silent auction. We're already starting to get some really great items. And if you have an item that you think would do well in the
Sure.
auction, call us,
yeah.
540-636-4325.
What option do they punch?
No, you talk to our lovely receptionist, Barbara. You want to talk to Barbara, don't punch any numbers.
But it's true. The community does support you, and they do have these fundraisers, and you get you need volunteers to work occasionally.
Surprisingly, not this point. When COVID came, we pretty much had to shut down as
Sure.
far as volunteers were
Right.
concerned. But the clinic itself stayed open every single day.
Yeah.
And we put protocols in place to protect everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that was symptomatic got tested.
Yeah.
If they got positive, we told them they needed to go home, call the ER, and then go from there. Or if their O2 was bad enough, they would be sent
Sure.
to the ER.
Sure. Well, all I know, like I said, I've had some personal experience with the clinic.
Yeah.
And you guys helped my brother tremendously when I couldn't get help anywhere else. And it worked out really great.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. And we worked with you on your fundraisers and helped
Oh,
you
yeah.
do that. And the community, I know, backs you pretty good. And obviously because you've been doing it 26 years. So it's great. And you've been here about a year, you said?
Little over a year.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
I hope.
She's
I
not
told,
going anywhere.
I told
I
Nancy
love it.
that she was a keeper, because you can stay a year in a job like that. You're pretty good. So, You don't plan on? Are you from around this area?
Yes, I actually live here in town.
Well, look at that! My
See, a
gosh,
keeper all the way around.
that's right. It is enjoyable. You're getting. I think in any job where you feel like you've accomplished something,
Yes,
and you feel like that, it helps your mental health. Doesn't it?
it does. Yes, it does.
Do you have kids? Mind me asking personal things? And
I don't.
Well, that's why she can do it. I was going to say, them kids drive you crazy, but no, I don't have any good. That's why. So
Nope. Just cats.
she's a cat lady.
I
All right.
am.
Well, I really appreciate you guys coming in and talking to us. We'll put some more information below the story, the links to your website and all the phone
Absolutely.
numbers
Great.
and everything. And hopefully we'll drive some business your way.
I hope so.
We want to help people, and I think that's great. This mental health thing is, we're talking about, police officers. We're training everybody in some sort of, we're shorthanded everywhere, and the police are going out when really they should just need a mental health counselor.
Yeah. And the mental health at any point you can have a problem.
Yeah.
You know.
It doesn't. There's no, age, race, anything like that. Religion,
it
where
messes
you
with
live,
everybody.
it affects. Yeah. If you got a brain, of course, that keeps a lot of people out.
Now.
See how that just popped in my head like that? No filter. Just come right out.
I'm there Mondays and Thursdays.
Ladies, it was great talking to you. I really appreciate it, and we'll help you all we can. All right?
Thank you,
Mike.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.